Okay, so they don't repeat the what the fuck Jesus line, but you judgmental cunt wagon go so hard that they win on that basis alone.
It's time to find out.
Okay, it's a sequel that totally reinvents itself, does something completely different from the first film. It takes inspiration from a lot of various sources, and mostly just wins because they realize that there hasn't been a Nightmare on Elm Street film in 15 years. Welcome to Black Phone 2 Dream Warriors. Black Phone 2 stars Mason Thames as Finn, not Finney, because he's hot now, okay? Seriously, they need to stop casting 25-year-olds as 17. Oh my god, he was literally 17 when they filmed this. Ooh, okay. Anyway, it also stars Madeline McGraw as his sister Gwen, the foul-mouthed dream warrior. That's right. She sees a bunch of people in her dreams, including her mom, at this winter Jesus camp. God, Americans will do anything to get rid of their kids, right? So she sees a bunch of people getting murdered there in the past, and her mother there, and then her and her new beau, who is just the brother of Robin, who died in the first film, but he's played by the same guy, which is so cheeky. And Finn, three of them go up to the mountains to try and become counselors while really investigating what's going on there, or what went on there. And then they get trapped there by a blizzard. Oh, so that's why you don't do winter Jesus camps in the mountains. Now, let's see here. There is a lot that I liked about this film. You know, the way it deals with trauma, not feeling the need to sink into just black darkness here. Instead, it shows Finn trying to, smoke weed heavily to forget all the horrible things that happened to him and repress his trauma. But it also shows things like their dad getting sober and having stayed sober for the last 3 years since the first film. Man, I mean, one of the things this just does really well is it's got all this dark content. It's about a serial killer coming back from beyond the grave. It's a nasty little horror film, but it manages to balance that very well with a wholesomeness that was it was really nice. It was nice to have, and I felt like that part of it especially helped make the whole thing, the two films together, feel like a complete story. It really deals with the fallout from that first one in positive and negative lights, and shows kind of... Yeah, it's a very interesting idea, and I really liked that. I also felt like they didn't feel the need to go bigger for the sequel. It is different. It is an adjacent parallel thing, same characters, but it is just unique. As much as it's taking inspiration from a lot of things, I love the 80s inspiration. I love 80s horror. So seeing the kind of the weather of the thing with the setting of Friday the 13th and the ideas of A Nightmare on Elm Street all merged, I thought that was awesome. And I really did like the fact that they didn't feel the need to have a giant body count or go way unnecessarily big. They were happy to just do this different thing and let it float along. Now for the other points. First and foremost, it isn't as good as the first film. I know I said in my review for that one that seeing Gwen go up against the Grabber would be so funny as an alternate kind of film, and this is much more about Gwen. Not entirely sure I like that idea. It's shifting focus a little more towards her was fine. It does sideline Finney for a lot of the film, and you're just like, wait, but he has... Well... Okay. But seeing Gwen say things like fuck you with a dinosaur dick and festering ass wound to the Grabber was great, okay? But there's a slight awkwardness of changing the lead. It's kind of difficult to do right. I feel like they do it fairly well here. And they still have a story around Finney himself in this, but it felt different. I do just love getting any film, but especially a horror film set in this kind of frozen wasteland. They're trapped up there. It was such a traditional oh, you've arrived, you're trapped here, instantly. But I like that. I like that kind of film. That is one of my favorite little gimmicks or constantly used tropes in films, especially horror films. Just, you are definitively trapped here. Fuck. I love that idea. I think Mason Thames is great. Madeline McGraw, I'm not as convinced by her as I was by Mason Thames as the lead in the first one. Or even by her in the first one as just a side character that swears at Jesus a lot. But she is still good in this. She does well. I thought she fit the role well. I thought the kid playing Ernesto was very good. And I thought just it was fun again how it built out this kind of quite unique feeling cast of characters who all have their own backstories and little bits to them that it doesn't really feel the need to deep dive into, because it would take so much exposition time to get through all their backstories. Instead, it really does just present them, this is what they are. Could we explore this more in a future thing? Maybe, but I'm less convinced that they should continue this as a franchise after this one. I feel like it really worked where they went with this one, and I don't see a good direction for another one, so I'm kind of hoping they leave it now. But we'll see, because, money. I'm giving missed golden opportunity to call it Black Phones 3.5 stars. I mean, it's not quite as, just funny and charming having Gwen, swearing randomly now that she's, 14 or 15, but the fact that there were, super religious Jesus people there, trying to say she was a demon because of how she speaks, made it fresh and just made it work all over again. Absolute bangers every time.